Sunny girl. Yeah. So last week we went over a hip clearance. Today we're going to expand on that a little bit. If you've got extremely sticky hips, you can't get any range out of them, you might have hip pain, you can regress this a little bit by opening up the knees to that 90 degrees, leaning back a little, and then flipping your knees over. Once we get a little bit better at it, that's when we want to tighten up a little bit, put a little bit more hip flexion into that movement, and really get our hips mobilized as much as possible. Now, progressing from there, we want to try and go no hands. So for this one, you want to try to stay as tall as absolutely possible and try not to let your feet leave the ground as you swing your knees side to side. You might find that you start creeping forward on this. But as you can see, it's a little bit more challenging. You'll automatically try and round to get your body out of the way. So try to stay as tall as you can and let those hips work through. You'll find that after reps 4, 5, 6, 7, it gets way easier. That clunking and clicking maybe backs off a little bit and the tightness really calms down. Now, to make this a little bit more of an activation, there's 2 ways we can go about it. We use an exercise called a hip, hail and rail. Basically, we're working on end range activation. So we're getting the really small muscles deep in your hip to actually engage. One of the biggest things that people don't understand is that to increase range of motion in your hip, we actually want to increase internal range of motion. So rather than increasing out this way, we actually want to increase internal this way. That gives you a little bit more space, activates those muscles, and gives you, strangely enough, external rotation even more. So you're going to sit in that 90-90 position again, but this time we're going to, as hard as we possibly can, drive this knee down into the ground so that your ankle lifts up off the floor. From here, we want to hold for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Again, your body's going to try and move out of the way as much as you can. Try not to. I will be honest, some of you will try this exercise and your ankle will not come off the ground. That doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just takes practice. Basically, you've got to be able to build those neural pathways, and that takes time. A lot of these muscles sometimes aren't awake for a lot of people. So it does take repetition, doing this every day, trying a little bit harder every single time to build that connection, to start recruiting those muscle fibers. It will happen if you work on it. So 5-second holds, 5 reps on each side, at least once a day. If you can do 3 sets of that, winning. Once it does start to lift, you'll probably find that you start cramping in what's called your TFL. Totally normal. Give it a rest if you need to, but if you can, push through it and it will stop. So to do the other side, we flip our legs over. Same thing, driving this knee down and lifting. You can master that, and those deep hip rotators, your gemelli muscles and your external obturatus, etc. Your go-go's is what we call them. When they're activated, we want to step that up a little bit and do what's called a hip archer. So this uses a lot more of the bigger muscles in your hips. It also uses your trunk a hell of a lot more, and we're coordinating movement. So we're getting rotation in our hips, thoracic spine and shoulders, which, as we said last week, are the main places that rotate in the body. So with this one, again, starting in that 90-90 position, we want to get our torso in line with our back thigh. So we want our arms out, but we don't want to be rotating with our arms. We want our chest to move as well. So you're actually going to make a U shape. So arms, chest, all move as one. Those arms are going to be parallel with your back thigh. From here, we're going to swing forwards just a little bit, rotate and lift so that our arms and chest become parallel with our opposite thigh. And then comes the hard part, controlling the way down. So we're rotating as we're lowering rather than dropping. You should be able to meet that rotation as you hit the floor. Again, arms pointing to that back thigh. So lifting up and rotating, controlling, rotating all the way back down. And again, we swap sides. So parallel, lift and rotate, control, rotate back down. This one's called a hip archer. Those are 3 progressions that we use. So no hands for your hip clearances, pails and rails for activation, and then we're bringing that into a dynamic movement with our hip arches. If you get hip pain, if they're niggly, if they're a little bit crunchy, if you just want to make sure that you're freeing them up so that they're not getting used to sitting all day long during your work day, give these a go. Just layer on one thing at a time. Pick one depending on where you're at and go from there. We'll see you next week.